The jeweler's velvet tray had smelled like old money and furniture polish. Just 3 weeks ago, we stood under the warm halogen lights of a boutique downtown, examining princess-cut diamonds. He had held my hand, his thumb tracing my knuckles, asking the jeweler about clarity and band thickness. 4 years. 4 years of curated anniversaries, Sunday morning farmers markets, and discussions about whether our future children would inherit his meticulously straight nose or my stubborn curl pattern. It was a masterpiece of an illusion, and it all shattered 2 days ago with the simple, agonizingly mundane act of opening our own bedroom door. I didn't scream when I saw them. The human brain is a funny thing. It buffers when presented with a reality that radically contradicts its programming. I just stood there, a bag of takeout Thai food cooling in my hands, staring at the tangle of limbs on the Egyptian cotton sheets I had washed that very morning. My boyfriend of 4 years, and another man. The immediate aftermath wasn't filled with the chaotic, tear-streaked begging you see in movies. That was the most chilling part. When Kalen finally emerged into the kitchen, wearing his plush navy bathrobe, his face wasn't etched with panic. It was merely tight with annoyance. He poured himself a glass of sparkling water, the ice clinking against the glass with a sharp, hollow sound, and leaned against the granite counter. He didn't apologize. Instead, he delivered a clinical, practiced monologue. He wasn't confused about his sexuality, he knew exactly who he was. He just wasn't ready to expose himself to his conservative corporate firm or his traditional family. "You were convenient, Vada," he said, his voice as smooth and unaffected as if he were discussing a change in his commuter route. "You're smart, you present well, and my parents adore you. You were the perfect cover." A cover, a human shield. 4 years of my youth, my loyalty, my deep and blinding love, reduced to a theatrical prop to keep his closet door firmly shut. He had pantomimed romance with terrifying precision, right down to the engagement ring shopping, all while slipping away to a parallel life. I packed a single suitcase, the zipper protesting against the careless way I shoved my clothes inside, and drove to a cheap motel off the interstate. The sterile smell of bleach and stale cigarette smoke felt infinitely cleaner than the apartment we had shared. 2 hours later, my phone vibrated against the cheap laminate nightstand. An unknown number. I answered, my throat raw from silent sobbing, expecting a delayed apology from Kalen. Instead, a voice bright, casual, and dripping with an unearned familiarity greeted me. "Hey Vada, it's Tavian, the guy from, well, you know, from this afternoon." I sat up, the worn springs of the mattress groaning beneath me. "Why are you calling me?" I rasped, the words tasting like copper. "Look, I know things got a little messy today," Tavian chuckled. He actually chuckled. "But Kalen and I were talking, I'm actually bi, and we both think you're gorgeous. There's really no need to throw away 4 years of history, right? We could all just be together, make it a poly thing. It could be a really fun dynamic." The sheer, breathtaking audacity of the proposal hung in the dead air between us. Was this a sick joke? Was he genuinely stupid enough to believe I would transition from a deceived, betrayed girlfriend to a willing third in their twisted arrangement? I ended the call without a word. My fingers, trembling with a sudden, icy rage, flew across my phone screen as I drafted a text to Kalen. "Did your boy Toy seriously just call me to ask for a throuple? Tell me you're making fun of me. Tell me this is a joke." 3 minutes later, a gray bubble popped up. It wouldn't be the worst arrangement, think about it. Something inside me, some fragile weeping thing that had been mourning the loss of my relationship, instantly crystallized into hardened steel. There would be no more tears, only a cold, calculating demand for justice. The next morning, I drove to my mother's house. I needed a sanctuary, a place to anchor myself while the hurricane of my collapsed life raged outside. I sat at her kitchen island, staring into a mug of chamomile tea, and laid out the entire grotesque narrative. I expected righteous maternal fury. I expected her to march over to Kalen's apartment and shatter his imported French press over his head. Instead, Lenora offered a heavy sigh and a patronizing pat on my wrist. "Vada, honey, you need to lower your temperature. You have to remember that gay people have a very rough journey in this society. Coming out is traumatic." He was probably terrified. You should have been a little nicer to him before storming out. I stared at her, the sweet, floral scent of the tea suddenly turning my stomach. "Nicer," I repeated, my voice dropping an octave. He lied to me for 4 years. He manipulated my reality. He used my actual life to build a fake one for himself. Being gay doesn't give you a free pass to be a sociopath, Mom. "Just have some empathy," she insisted, turning back to the sink to scrub a perfectly clean plate. I realized then that if I wanted boundaries, I would have to enforce them myself. No one was going to protect me from the radioactive fallout of Kaylin's narcissism. So I took out my phone and found the contact for Bernadette, Kaylin's mother. Bernadette and I were incredibly close. She had taught me how to cultivate a sourdough starter. We traded mystery novels and spent holidays drinking mulled wine by her fireplace. The thought of losing her ached like a phantom limb, but preserving the lie would be worse. I typed a lengthy, meticulous message. I didn't soften the edges. I explained exactly what I had walked in on. I detailed Kaylin's chilling confession in the kitchen, his admission that he had used me as a beard for 4 years, and the grotesque phone call from Tavian. I love you, Bernadette, I concluded. But because of the profound disrespect and emotional abuse your son subjected me to, I cannot stay in contact with you, at least not for the foreseeable future. I need a clean break to heal from this. Her response came an hour later, a sprawling paragraph of absolute horror, heartbreak, and profound apologies. She didn't make excuses for him, she understood completely. By noon the next day, the shockwaves hit the surface. Kaylin's parents did the unthinkable, they cut him off entirely, not because he was gay. Bernadette made that explicitly clear to him. They disowned him for the monstrous way he had treated another human being, for stringing a woman along with the promise of a future just to serve his own cowardice. True to his nature, Kaylin immediately sought an audience to stroke his victim complex. He took to Facebook and TikTok, posting a moody black-and-white photo of himself looking forlorn out a window. The caption was a masterclass in manipulation, the pain of living your truth. Cut off by my own parents for finally embracing who I am. The homophobia in this world is still alive and well, starting over from nothing, but at least I'm free. He wanted a parade, he got a firing squad. His Aunt Maureen was the first to comment. Stop lying, Kaylin. Your parents didn't cut you off for being gay. They cut you off because you used Vada for 4 years, cheated on her in the apartment she paid half the rent for, and treated her like garbage. Grow up. Then came his cousin, dropping screenshots of Kaylin's own text messages that Bernadette had forwarded to the family group chat. The comment section devolved into an absolute bloodbath. And because Kaylin had neglected to adjust his privacy settings, his coworkers, who followed him on TikTok, saw every single word. The man who was so terrified of a scandal at his corporate firm had just engineered his own public relations nightmare. By the end of the day, his professional network had iced him out. The friendly morning banter by the office espresso machine evaporated. People looked at him not with prejudice for his sexuality, but with the specific, lingering disgust reserved for a predator who plays with people's lives. His close circle of friends wasn't much better. They were a fiercely loyal group, guys who prided themselves on traditional values and strict monogamy. When they found out Kaylin hadn't just cheated, but had orchestrated a 4-year elaborate con against a woman they all genuinely liked and respected, the group chat went completely dead. He was exiled, socially radioactive. But the final, spectacular collapse of Kaylin's empire happened within the walls of our apartment. Since we were both on the lease but I had vacated, the financial burden fell entirely on his shoulders. His budget was already stretched thin, financing his secret double life and dinners with Tavian. He couldn't afford the rent alone, and with his parents' financial safety net gone, the panic finally set in. When Bernadette officially called him to tell him, the locks were changed at the family home, and his trust fund access was frozen pending a legal review. Kaylin lost whatever tenuous grip he had left on his sanity. I wasn't there to witness the tantrum, but the landlord's frantic phone call painted a vivid picture. Kaylin had torn through the apartment like a feral animal. He smashed the 70-inch flat screen we had bought together. He took a heavy iron skillet and bashed in the top of my expensive Italian espresso machine. He went into the closet, pulled out the designer dresses and tailored coats I hadn't yet moved to my new place, and took a pair of kitchen shears to them, leaving piles of shredded silk and wool on the hardwood floor. It was a display of unhinged, violent rage. And ironically, it was the very thing that severed his last remaining lifeline. Tavian had been sitting on the couch when the rampage started. For all his smug, boundary-pushing arrogance over the phone, Tavian was apparently not equipped to handle a screaming, destructive man-child. Watching Kaylin brutally destroy my property terrified him. Realizing that this volatile, broke, and socially ostracized man was his new reality, Tavian quietly slipped out the front door, got into his car, and sent a 2-sentence breakup text. So now Kaylin sits alone in an apartment he can't afford to keep, surrounded by the shattered plastic and shredded fabric of his own making. No family, No friends, no boy toy, just the crushing weight of his own consequences. As for me, I'm drinking my morning coffee out of a cheap ceramic mug in a bright, sunlit kitchen that belongs entirely to me. My lawyer is vicious, brilliant, and currently drafting a comprehensive civil suit for the destruction of my property. I kept every receipt, every text, every shred of evidence. He used me as a shield to protect his life, but he forgot one crucial detail about shields. They are made of iron, and when you strike them hard enough, the recoil will break your bones.